Honey, where are you going?
Where are you going?
Again? Just where are you going?
Where are you going? You're not going to the bar again, are you?
You like hanging out, drinking beer at the bar, talking sports? Come on out and join us weekly. Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, your podcast for just that. Hanging out, drinking some beer, talking sports. Hello, everybody. This is your high-energy podcast host, Ray Eaton, here for Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. Thank you for joining us for another week of the show as we talk about week 4 of college football. Which teams are going to win? Which teams are looking at some upsets? We're going to look back on week 3 as well, just to kind of give you all a feel of our thoughts on some of those games as well. And then, you know what? And then we're going to go ahead and do our what the fuh moment of the day. So keep on tuning in, keep joining us. Thank you for joining us again, like I said. So hit the subscribe button if you're listening through any podcast app you have, because you're going to want to listen next week, right? And then consider giving us a review on that app, because it does help with the algorithms. We need more listeners. And then if you're done with that, go ahead and go to our new website, www.guysatthebartalkingsports.com. We own it. It's ours. And that is where you're going to get all the information on what's going on with the guys every single week. We got a great Facebook group as well. Might want to join that. Best sports Facebook group in the country. We don't have 50,000 people posting. We have about 1,700 people posting. We don't even want to get to 50,000, because then it's going to be too much to manage. And you get those dipshits that come in there and start talking too much smack. So
Ray wants 50,000. You can tell him the truth, right?
I want 50,000. 50,000 translates to more listeners to the show, right? I would assume.
And sponsors.
And sponsors. There we go. That's right. If you want to be a sponsor of the show and feed our liquor habit and beer habit, you can do that by Venmoing us at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. Some of y'all don't drink. You might not want to support our drinking habit, but we need all the microphones we can get in this show. So if you want to do that, you can check us out with Venmo as well at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. Let's do some intros, shall we? So, we have Cheeks. How you doing, Cheeks?
Doing great. How are you all?
Good. USC's looking nice, man. I
know.
feel confident in going into this weekend for the first time in a while, right?
You should probably be clear which USC.
Oh, yeah. So, USC out in California.
Yes.
Feel confident going into the weekend. How about you, Chief? How you doing today? You got your Dr. Pepper shirt on?
Hey, college football season.
I know, man. So, North Carolina's looking pretty good so far as well, right? You feeling good about them?
No, they haven't played anybody yet. They played Minnesota, and they barely squeaked out of that one. Now, they're down their starting quarterback. But, yeah, no, they haven't. No real contest yet.
All right, Rooster.
How we doing?
Syracuse, the team to beat in the ACC.
Big weekend last weekend on that bye, but I'll take it. They got a big contest with Stanford this week where they're walking in at minus 9.5, which I'm super excited about.
And Stanford's in the ACC, so that's the ACC.
Stanford's
play,
in the
right?
ACC. We're going to talk some ACC later on.
Is this in California or Syracuse?
This one's at Syracuse.
Then.
The weather's going to be nice?
The weather's going to be
inside
nice
the dome.
inside the JMC Dome, so should be good. It's still awkward to call it that instead of the Carrier Dome of old, but it is now the JMC Dome.
Gotcha. West Virginia, the mountain man himself, the Mountaineer.
What's up?
Backyard brawl last week, man.
He's full of energy.
Not too happy about that, were you?
No, move on, please.
All right. We're moving on from that topic. I think he's going to punch me in the face after the way he's looking at me.
They
like
do that
so.
when you're from West Virginia.
Yeah, I know.
That's just family love.
That's
That's why they call it a backyard brawl.
That's right. Just some family loving.
Lucky to get your butt kicked. And the Gators look like crap as always, so we'll see what happens with Mississippi State next week. But looks like a coach is going away. Let's just say that. Speaking of a coach that might go away, we have Florida State, undefeated last season, now 0-3. They play Cal next week. If they go 0-4, is Mike Norvell gone after having such a great season last season?
Yes.
Or can he make more excuses for what the team is doing?
Well, we know he's going to have a new quarterback next year, assuming he's still there. And quarterback is the leader of the team.
Should he have a new quarterback this year, though?
They should have a new quarterback this Saturday. That's what I would do.
It only makes sense, right? I mean, you want to stick with your guy, but your guy is not cutting it, obviously.
He's not bringing the team together, and that's critical.
But can you bring a team like that together? We talked about this last week, I think, right? Can you bring a team like that together that's just thrown together and, with all the people coming from the portal?
You got to get a new quarterback in there. It's going to take a couple of games, but if they start to see improvements right away, it'll work for them.
I don't know that that's true. You're 0-3. Your quarterback has been absolutely awful. At what point do you admit either he's not a good quarterback or it's not a good system or he's not a good quarterback for the system? We watched him be pretty successful in Oregon State last year in DJ Alphabet. I could see where the attraction was. You got a super senior that is in the portal. You snag him up. You're thinking great things are going to happen. The program's just not set up for Alphabet. So I really think that the coach either needs to look at making a change at quarterback or they need to look at a different scheme of offense, which is hard to do middle of the season, which for them, they're already 3 games in. So do I agree that he can keep his job? If they end up 6-6, it'd be a miracle, to be honest with you. But would that be enough to keep his job? They were undefeated last year. Does that give you some stock as a football coach? I would certainly hope so. If not, then we're going to learn quickly why all these coaches are asking for buyouts in their contracts, because that's mighty fast. But they're in a situation right now. The coach is in charge of the program. He needs to make changes, whether it's the offense around DJ Alphabet, if that's who they're going to stick with, or DJ Alphabet's just not the right guy. I find it hard to believe that Florida State didn't recruit a freshman quarterback that they're grooming to be able to step on the field with all the talent that's down there in Florida.
If they do start him this week, then you know that backup quarterback is just not practicing well on the second team.
Yeah, it means they don't have an option.
Right.
How much does NIL play in this? I mean, this kid has a lot of endorsements. I don't know what kind of contracts they sign behind closed doors, but it feels like that he won't be benched anytime soon because there's money in. I know y'all, that might seem absurd, but I mean, he should not be starting this weekend, and he's going to start, and he's probably going to start next weekend. I just wonder if NIL plays it. And I know Mike Norvell's the coach, but there's people that's got a lot of money that's endorsing him that may trump him. They want DJ out there. DJ's in a Celsius commercial. I mean, he's in a lot of big brand commercials, and I just wonder how much that's playing into it. I know that seems absurd, but how can he still be playing?
I mean, in some cases, bad publicity is good publicity, right?
No.
In Hollywood, it works
All
well.
publicity
In
is
politics,
good
it works good. But in sports, bad publicity, like throwing interceptions, just throwing passes that are off by 10, 15 yards sometimes.
So then you tell me, how is he still starting?
I have no idea. And it cannot be NIL. It cannot be Celsius calling up Mike Norvell saying,
No.
you better have this kid starting this
It ain't
week.
just Celsius. He's on like 1 million commercials in Tallahassee.
But his last season was his best season. I think they think there's still a spark of hope.
So after game 4 and they beat Cal, let's say they beat Cal, it gives people confidence or what? I don't know. I don't think so.
I think
who knows?
What's the line on with Cal? Because I think Cal is actually pretty good. And then
Where is that game?
Now SMU, it's at Florida State. The following week they're down in Texas at SMU. SMU is
And
not
that's
that
going to
good.
be they're not good this year. That's
They're
true.
not great.
It's been a while since they've been good.
Well, but they've lost to Boston College.
It's
They lost to Memphis.
Hang on, Boston College is throwing some good plays on the field.
I understand it, but SMU, the way Florida State's playing, let's not confuse the brands. They may not play very well or beat SMU in Dallas. You just
But
don't know.
it would be easy to get rid of the coach based on the buyout. His
Okay.
buyout's only $6 million, which
no.
Yeah,
$6 million per year, and he has 7 years left or something like that.
they said that if he got out in 2024, it's $6 million.
we have to
a booster would
talk
get
to people in the back on that
2
one.
points.
So the line on that Florida State game is Florida State is actually favored by
Because it's
2.5.
Because it's at home.
I don't care who it is. Has anybody looked at what California's put together this year?
Tell me more. I don't know.
They're undefeated.
Yeah.
First of all, they line covered last Saturday night because I know that for a fact because I
Who'd
had
they
money
play?
on that game.
So you made money off of it.
They beat UC Davis. They beat Auburn at Auburn, which
That's true. Okay.
and they beat San Diego State last week pretty easily.
And San Diego State is
generally
a
a tough
decent
team.
San Diego State is not a decent team this year.
Yeah, but beating Auburn at Auburn, that right away tells me they can beat Florida State. at
tells you
Florida
they've got a
State.
team on the
Yeah.
field,
Yeah.
and they're winning their other games pretty handily. So it's not like they're running close games. Auburn was a close game, but they were expected to lose that.
So
game.
I'm sorry.
So back to the question at hand then. $6 million buyout? Someone look that up and tell me it's different. Because if it's a $6 million buyout and you're 0-4, you're gone.
Well,
that Monday morning, that Sunday night.
There's two now in West Virginia. There's 2 buyouts. There's the buyout to get rid of Neil Brown in the season that cost a lot more than it would be at the end of the season.
Okay.
So it's maybe the $6 million at the end.
$65 million.
65 million. That's what I thought. It was a lot of money.
85% of his base income and
The
benefits
dot
for
was
the
in the wrong
balance
place,
of his
sorry.
contract, and it expires the end of December 2031.
Yeah, because they were saying it was comparable
it's
to
probably $6
Texas
million a
A&M's
year.
But
buyout last year.
these boosters are billionaires, man. I mean, look what happened.
Oh, yeah.
They gave him $100 million to get Jimbo out of there.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be hard.
It was
to
on the
get him
table. I mean, we even saw $40 million out of Florida. So, but just to let you know and talk about this game, California defense, and we've talked about not great teams. Auburn, notwithstanding, was only averaging 12 points per game allowed by the defense in the first 3 games, and that's including at Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Auburn scored the highest with 14. Cal is no pushover. I've got Cal winning this game.
I think
I
they're
think
good.
Cal's going to win it too.
I wonder if Cal played Oregon State last year because DJ played at Oregon State.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if they played, and
They
I wonder if
probably
he had a
did.
good game against them. Maybe there's some kind of hope there that the spark will be there or something. I don't know.
Who knows? All right. Another coach that is obviously on the hot seat. This guy's got a flamethrower under his ass. And we're going to talk about Billy Napier really quick. Only because it's all the Florida talk we're going to have this week. So I'm done with Florida talk after, or do I have them on my list? No, I don't. See, I did not put them on the list of if they're gonna beat Mississippi State or not.
We lost 17 listeners last week just because of talking about Florida.
Too much. Huh? Okay, 17 listeners, man. But we gained 17 listeners by talking about Florida. So anyway, besides that, we're gonna stop talking about Florida after we say, is Billy Napier gone by the end of next week? Because he's not gone now. They did call on Sunday morning at 7 a.m. There was a Board of Trustees meeting that they must have had some conversation like, hey, give him another week. Let's see what he does against Mississippi State. That has to be the conversation.
USA Today is reporting that boosters have come up with the cash for the buyout.
They have.
I think it's more
Supposedly.
about Florida's unprepared to replace him. So I think what they're doing is buying time. Doesn't change the season, but it provides some stability. And now you got a coach that's super motivated, or should be motivated. But maybe it's not motivating. I guess we're going to find out. But all we know is they're losing games.
I'm sure there was an ultimatum. Probably a meeting that says, "Hey, you got to do that. You got to win this amount of games, 6, 7 games, or you're out."
They're not winning 6 or 7 games this year. I mean,
Well,
their best chance of that was the first 6 games. The last 6 games are tough. Florida State, they still should win that game, though. So I'm going to give them the win at Florida State. I'll give them the win possibly at Mississippi State, but the rest of those games, maybe even Kentucky. But Kentucky played good against Georgia. They played crappy against USC.
I'm thinking
So-
Mississippi State's going, when was the last time we beat Florida? And we can beat them this year.
Mississippi
but
State's
they're-
pretty bad. I mean,
I understand
pretty
that.
bad.
I understand that. But they're probably looking at it going, this is our best chance ever.
no, nothing against Toledo, but 41-17. That was a blowout.
Hey, don't ever sleep on the action, okay?
But I mean,
The action.
I guess my question is what good does it, unless there's buyout clauses like I mentioned earlier, what good does it do to get rid of Billy Napier in week 4?
It doesn't. So
You can't hire a coach right now.
Yeah,
That's
so
what I'm saying.
sad.
Unless you call Marcus Freeman.
2 years ago, but 2 years ago that Scott Frost got fired from Nebraska in September. They paid, I think it was $17 million to get rid of him in September. If they would have waited 2 more weeks from the time they fired him, it would have been $10 million.
But if I ain't mistaken, Scott Frost actually didn't take him. There was something weird because Nebraska was his school, his own. He didn't take all. I thought there was some kind of handshake agreement. I'll take a certain amount versus. I have to look that up, but I'm almost positive there was an agreement between Scott Frost and Nebraska when he left early because he was being a good guy going out the door.
I don't remember seeing that at all in the news, but that might be true.
Yeah.
You might have heard that
I
somewhere.
don't know if
and
that same
didn't hear
thing from Billy Napier, University of Florida.
it. No, because Scott Frost does have a lot of
is
ties to
Nebraska.
that university.
Yeah.
So he might have said, you know what, I'll do the right thing. Go ahead and get rid of me now. We'll have an interim coach at the end of the season. He was raging alcoholic by the time he left there, is what I've heard. So
wow.
he was just having a really hard time for like the last 2 seasons where it was getting really bad.
I just
think he
don't-
might have did it for his health. Who knows?
I'm not a big. I don't like seeing guys. No matter how much you dislike a coach, or I don't understand. I don't know that I've ever seen evidence of a coach getting fired and the team going on and like going to a bowl game or winning. I mean, I just don't. Because the staff's still going to be there. You got the same staff that's going to have to replace him in season. I mean, you got players there who are there for him. Your quarterback is there for him. And he gets fired. How motivated is he going to be to finish the season? And who's to say who the next person? I mean, my guess is they're going to come in with a disciplinarian next. I mean, they all this thing ebbs and flows. You got the fun guy, the disciplinarian. The fun guy, it always does that with these coach changes. But I don't see that. I don't know why you get rid of him. I just let the season play out. You never know what's going to happen.
See what happens.
happens.
I'm all for that. I prefer that situation to happen for the Florida Gators, is to just let Billy Napier keep it going. The crowd noise is really high right now on getting rid of him as soon as possible.
Okay, so he gets kicked out the door.
He got booed off the first half.
And then they go on to lose the rest of the games with some backup. They're not going to be any less loud.
So if they beat Mississippi State, he probably buys another week at least, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But if he
and
loses to Mississippi State, what happens?
He gets a guillotine.
They come back the next week against UCF to a stadium that is not sold out, right? And in a fan base that is not happy about what's going on, and most likely that revenue source that they have with those butts and seats is going to go down the rest of the season. I bet they get rid of him if he does not beat Mississippi State.
Yeah.
If he does, you get one more week at UCF. That first half better be good because you might get fired during halftime. Let's just say that. But I don't want that to happen. But we're going to move on from that conversation unless anyone else has something to say. You seem like you got something to say, Rooster.
I always have something to say, but we can move on to the next topic.
All right.
We're probably giving this topic more than it deserves. Sorry, Florida Gator fans.
I hate you. I hate you. All right, so, Chief, why isn't UNC ranked in the top 25 right now? They are undefeated. Tell me more of where you think they've been, are, and where are they going?
They have not played anybody, and coming into week 4, they're playing James Madison. They're favored by 10.5.
James Madison's not a bad team.
They're not a slouch. They're not a slouch.
They're not the same team they were last year. They lost a lot of players transferred.
Yeah, they're not a slouch team. They're place kids from high school, go to play for a year or two so they can go play in the SEC, the Big Ten.
I just feel like y'all are way better than Northern Illinois.
Well,
in my opinion.
and I'm going to give you a not so fast on this one.
All right,
Okay, not so fast.
give it to me.
Here's the problem with the ACC. They're weak. Okay, it's a weak team. We watched ACC teams get beat up in week 1. Clemson got absolutely throttled by Georgia. The only ACC team that's bringing anything to the table this year that's going to be in the playoffs is Miami Hurricanes. And I'm a Syracuse fan. I don't think they're going to have enough juice in the tank to get into the playoffs this year. Undefeated teams in the ACC. You have Syracuse, Cal, Duke, Miami, UNC, Pitt, Louisville, all undefeated. So and as Chief was talking about, what's putting UNC above any of those teams? Because only 2 of those teams are in the top 10 right now, or top 25, excuse me. And that includes Syracuse beating a ranked Georgia Tech, a Cal beating an at-home Auburn. So what's putting UNC above those teams?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. So the only question mark I have, honestly, is why is Clemson still in the top 25 after a thumping that they took at the hands of Georgia? Because everybody thought Georgia was the world beaters and we're going to just beat up everybody until they went into Kentucky last week and almost got embarrassed.
So
did get embarrassed, but ended up pulling it out.
So USA Today actually doesn't have Clemson in the top 25.
I believe ESPN polls do.
Clemson's played 2 or 3 games.
2. They
So they've had one. They blew out
had
App
bye
State
week.
and got blown out. So we don't know who Clemson is yet. So
No idea who Clemson is.
No,
They're-
we're gonna find
We'll
out a
know
little
this
bit more.
weekend because they're playing NC State. Not that NC State's all that good, but it depends how that game looks. If it's close, Clemson's not that great. If they just blow out NC State, and I think Dabo's going to do the same thing he did. His game plan is going to be the same as App State. I got to prove something, and we're going to prove it today.
Cheeks, after 3 weeks of college football, have your thoughts changed at all on who is going to be in the top 4 or national champs? Let's just stick with national champs.
Yes-ish.
Say that. What do you mean? Yes-ish. I don't even know if that's a word, but we'll go with it.
I'm making them
We're
up.
gonna throw it in the Guys of the Bar dictionary.
Although Georgia was not impressive at all last week, I still think Georgia's got it in them. So I'm not going to discount them just yet. Although I've been a naysayer of Tennessee for a while, and I see them really moving up. I'm going to give them a chance. I think that they've got it in them to go pretty far, if not all the way.
Teams to beat: Mountaineer.
it's still going to be Ohio State and Texas. I mean, I'm not changing on that. All this love for I've made my feelings known about Carson Beck. I'm not sold on the guy. Georgia laid an egg. Now I know that's kind of their MO. They go into the first road game under Kirby in the SEC and they lay an egg almost every time. I get that. They're going to go to Bama and get squashed. They're going to go to Texas and get squashed. Texas and Ohio State are the best 2 teams. That's who's playing the national championship. Period.
Bama.
So you're sold on Bama?
Right now I am.
Okay.
Brewster?
Number 1, and I think in week 1 or before week 1, we talked about how Wisconsin was going to be a better team this year. They're better, but they're not good. Okay, so Bama went into another bet that I laid on and maximized my money. Alabama went to Wisconsin and showed.
It just wrecked them.
They showed, and if you think about this, last week we were talking about Alabama. Maybe they're not as good, and Alabama's a good team. That quarterback has been to the 4-team playoffs already. He's got a lot of experience.
Yeah.
That team is going to be good, and you have a coach that also was in the college football championship last year. So there's a ton of experience on that team. They're gelling together. I don't discount Bama. I don't know that Bama will beat Georgia again this year based on the results from last year. There's a ton going on there. It's going to be an exciting game. I'm not sure if I'm ready to call it. Teams we're not talking about. Tennessee, just looking lights out. I think we're going to find out a lot about Tennessee because you all know how I feel about Oklahoma and that coach out there. He's still the best defensive mind in college football and was responsible for Clemson going to the college national championships when he was there. And ever since he's left, we've known what Clemson has looked like.
Yeah,
So I don't think that's going to be a blowout. Certainly not 71-0. Hopefully, if they get up by more than 21, they don't kick any onsides. Tennessee fans, come on.
Bush League.
All right, we'll talk about that in the what the fuck. But I think there's still a lot of football to be played. But I think your big 4, big 6 are coming out pretty good. Miami is going to be the representative for the ACC. That's my opinion.
For sure.
So now you're talking about 7 teams that we just got on the table. I don't know that you'll have 4 teams from the SEC on the 12-team playoff, but we'll see how it plays out.
If Miami ends up in that top 4 and they're the 4th, right? Their next game will be played against the 5 or 12 seed. I would assume. Yeah, that's where it's going to be, right? Or would they? No. The number 1 seed would be the 5 or 12 seed. Whoever wins that
they'll be
game.
playing.
That's right. So they'll be playing someone this 9 or 8 seed.
No, the 4 would play the 5-12 winner.
The 4 will play the 5-12.
The 1 will always get the
lowest.
The 1 would get 8-9.
Okay.
Yeah.
That being said, if Miami is there, they're going to have an easier path. They're going to relatively, especially if the 12 seed ends up beating the 5 seed, then they're going to have a relatively easy path to get to where they're going, unless that 12 seed is like LSU or.
So you're telling me if, let's say Alabama's the 5 seed, Alabama, Miami.
Alabama-Miami after Alabama's already played the week before against the 12th seed. Yeah, so Alabama-Miami, that's a good game. Alabama wins that game. I would assume.
I would think so.
We don't
Yeah.
know,
but we don't know. Yeah, my thing is sample size is small. It's hard to tell. I think I said Texas in the beginning was going to be one of the top
Yeah,
two.
but we're talking Tennessee. Possibly, I got some head shakes nose.
It's hard to tell with Tennessee because they haven't really played anyone
They haven't
yet.
played
But they're
anyone.
blowing people out like it's
Right.
nobody's business.
that's going to come back and get
Yeah,
them.
but they're not playing anybody yet.
That's going to come back and get them.
Yeah, but this is the reason that they're, in my opinion, one of the reasons that they're allowing the offense to do that. You got a young quarterback, so he's out there getting reps. I think he only played. He played through the third quarter last week, but he's getting his reps.
65 points in the first first half or something. Was that?
Yeah,
right?
they set a record for points in a quarter for the school. They had 37 points in the first. So he sat in the second half. But I think they're trying to get him reps and open him up a little bit and get him more comfortable. He played in the bowl game last year. He's played in the first couple of games this year, first 3 games this year. Get the kid some reps because their schedule's coming up. And Oklahoma's the beginning of it. They've got Alabama. But honestly, they might be a 2-loss team, maybe only a 1-loss team, and we're talking about them not getting in the playoffs? I don't know, because if you look at it, they beat Oklahoma, then they've got Arkansas, who's shown the ability to play well but hasn't closed. Florida, we all know what's going to happen there. Alabama at home. Kentucky at home. Mississippi State at home. Their last 4 games are at home.
They don't play Georgia this year.
They do not play Georgia.
Yeah, they got lucky on
And they
that
don't
one.
play Missouri? They don't
No.
play Missouri?
Nope.
Well, Tennessee plays Oklahoma this weekend. We're going to find at Oklahoma.
It's their first test.
Yeah,
We're gonna find out.
Yeah.
I want to see them do that.
Brett Venables' defense, I don't think they'll score 71.
Nope.
But I think
We're going to get to that.
The over-under
Okay.
is 50.
Don't be jumping too,
Okay,
so far
okay,
ahead.
all
We haven't
right.
even done the legendary picks yet. And we just got my man himself, the Rebel, walking through the door, grabbing him a drink. Last time you came after drinking at G Boogie's house, tasting liquor.
Oh, geez.
I got off a really good whiskey. I don't know what you want.
I told you to bring some.
I didn't catch all that. It was $1,000 bottle of open. Sorry, I got to get a little more.
Hey, I would have sipped some of that too. You should have brought some with you.
That's what I told them.
To guys at the bar talking sports, we like $1,000 whiskey.
Check your guys at the bar
Would anybody
talking
say no
sports
to that?
No, I would
text
say that
thread,
too.
and you would have known to bring some.
Exactly.
Damn.
I know Gary G Boogie wasn't letting you walk out with it. Let's go.
Did the Gamecocks have that game stolen from them last week?
Well, I'm going to sit down before
No,
I get my
no,
drink
they gave
on
it
this.
away.
God bless America.
Tell me more.
Look,
Uh-oh.
I am a big proponent of do what you got to do. Don't let the referees decide the game for you. I've always been that way. Quit blaming people that they're going to have good days and bad days like everybody else. That was one of the worst officiated games I have ever witnessed. NFL, high school, college. It was terrible. Now, that being said, I feel like if Sellers doesn't get hurt, the referees don't matter. None of this. Okay, that kid is legit.
Yep.
I know that pains you, Spencer.
What was the
I'm
defender who hit the quarterback after the play?
Defense end.
Now, let me explain something. So the first touchdown I got called off because of the horse collar. Fantastic call. You got to know better. The second
That
one.
wasn't. He was grabbing a jersey.
Yeah, that wasn't a
Yeah,
horse.
that wasn't a
But
horse
no,
collar.
here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though. Whether you get that one, I don't have much of that problem with. The second one, I have a huge problem with. And we had a friend of ours who wanted to try to argue this, and I was like, sit down and shut up.
Damn.
The quarterback turned to make a pursuit of the play to make the damn tackle.
He becomes.
He became
a defender.
He became ripe. We'll call it that, okay? And even then, back when I played this game, you got excited about those moments because you went head hunting. You went earhole hunting. Hold on. You can't do that anymore, and that's fine. That kid turned around and just chucked him. He did a Pop Warner offensive line block, chucked him, and he fell down and flopped around like a mullet on the beach, and he got the call. That is the worst call. Look, if they're going to call that, take the pads off the quarterback and say you can't touch him.
I'll say this though. One of the things that the defender did wrong after the LSU quarterback flopped around like a mullet.
Mullet on the beach.
Like a mullet on the beach.
Like a mullet on the beach.
about a flop
He
around
put his
soccer?
he put his hands up. That is the universal sign for
if I fuck up.
I am guilty.
Yeah.
I am guilty. Told you to watch the F-bombs on when you got here. So once you
it
put your
doesn't-
hands up, it doesn't help anything. If he just chucked him and turned and
But-
walked, I don't know that it would have gotten a call.
but-
I don't disagree with you. Just to be clear here,
I know you don't.
It's 2 hands on the shoulder pad. You push somebody. You weigh 290. He weighs 200.
It's football.
Yeah.
You wear pads for a reason.
Yeah, I mean,
To make your shoulders look big, right?
Look, here's the thing: is take that off the equation. Okay, let's say that. Let's give them that for a poor call. The pick play that they called offensive pass interference.
Yeah, that was.
My God,
Twice.
So again, my problem with this is that was one of the worst officiated games. Look, and everybody has bad days. They even said Beamer. He ain't one to really throw. He's got a little class to him. He said he turned it into the SEC to go, this was trash.
So Beamer has never turned in any calls to the SEC in his tenure. He said he sent in 4 on that game. If that tells you
They don't reverse a game. I mean, it's not.
They don't. No, but
Well,
there's some
it's
feel-good edification, and it's not going to change anything. It may change how
It puts that team it puts that officiating team on.
Yep.
Yes.
So
Puts them on the radar.
if they have complaints and they can't coach
No bowling.
in
So
bowl
It
games,
puts them on the radar
and
when it
college
comes
football.
to the playoffs, to the bowl games, and things like this, that if you screw it up this bad, you're not going to have those opportunities to make. I know I'm talking over because I'm hot. That game, I'm watching this thing with my beloved, beautiful wife on an anniversary trip. I dropped her off at the spa so I could watch the Gamecocks play. And that's the shit I had to endure. I'm pissed.
But
We were
anyways,
there.
it doesn't change anything.
On his
Again,
anniversary?
3 out of the
No,
4
we were
of those
at the
penalties
game.
were on critical plays. If you rewind it, the second offensive PI call was on a big gain, acrobatic catch, and then that one was called back. That would have iced the game. LSU got the ball back.
Well, I'm hoping that those officials had that game, had their money on that game as the 3.5 points, because they only won by 3.
Yep.
So they lost their money anyway after all that BS.
Well, did Brian Kelly?
36.
Were you going to say
He
that?
sent it in too. He complained also.
I mean, I know y'all didn't watch. Y'all may not have watched the Backyard Brawl. There was some horrible calls in that game too. There were some horrible calls in the NFL yesterday. Football has
Yeah,
a referee
yeah.
problem.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is a problem. And I don't know if the instant replay has turned them into cowards or just bad officiating. I don't know what it is. They got a hard job, but football has a referee problem. And this weekend was very evident.
Yeah.
I watched 2 college games and 3 pro games, and they were all bad.
It was great. My thing is this: what I think about this is the fact of I think instant replay has made them lazy.
Yep.
And they're going to get the benefit of the doubt to the big play and make them reverse it. What they don't fail to recognize is if just for some reason the camera angles don't have a good angle to reverse a bad call, they can't do it. But I think in the same breath, I think you're having less quality referees coming to the game because they're not willing to put up with what we're talking about right now.
Go get your drink.
But
Jeez Louise, dude.
here's the deal, though. I don't want a game where it's going to be. You've watched games and toward the end of a game, next thing you know, they're doing replay. Then they're doing a replay. Then they're doing a replay.
Yeah.
Then they're checking it. Then they're checking it. And you're like, oh my god, just play the football game. So
Yeah.
at some point, we just need to accept
they're-
bad refereeing has been going on since the
human.
dawn of time. They're
But-
human, and this game is fast.
I mean, every freaking time you watch a run back or an interception, blocking the back, pick play, roughing the every freaking time you don't get kickoff returns out of blocking the back anymore. You don't get pick sixes out of the quarterback getting flopping like a what you said a mole
Mullet on the beach.
mullet on Myrtle Beach or whatever. But anyway,
It could be
Myrtle
any
Beach.
beach.
It could be any beach.
all
Specific.
that shit is getting worse and worse and worse. These refs are flag happy. The call, you got to start letting them play a little bit of football. I mean, some of these that are egregious, okay, but I mean, we're talking about calls that aren't egregious. I mean,
What was the NBA referee? Donnelly?
yeah, the one that was being paid, bought.
You start to wonder this stuff after so long.
But I'll just say that it's a part of the game.
It's a part of the game.
And you know, there's LSU. If you're an LSU fan, how many times have you been screwed over by calls? I think it was 2 last year against Texas A&M. They got screwed over by a call. I hate to say it comes back around. It shouldn't be part of it. I'm a fan of the Gamecocks. I don't want to see the Gamecocks lose that way. Yes, I'm frustrated. Yes, there was bad calls, but it's not going to change anything.
But let's say this. We're going to move on from this topic because we have a lot of other things to get to, including number 1 Georgia, who is now number 2 Georgia for a very
it should be.
challenging game against Kentucky, 13-12. Doesn't matter.
You got 12-team playoff. They get a first-round bye. Who cares? If you're 1 or 2, you're playing in the same place.
All right.
Who cares?
Shall we move on from that topic?
All I'll say is
That's a good
I
thing
love
now.
how the opinions of all of us change so rapidly. You know, 2 weeks ago it was Alabama's not as good as they're going to be. Now it's Georgia's not as good.
No, Georgia's just good. They overlook Kentucky.
I never said that about Alabama.
I
Matter of fact,
didn't either.
I sat here and said Kellen DeBoer won he went like 34-2 or something crazy in Washington. Replay the
I
tape. I said
changed
it.
my opinion.
Alabama is good. They haven't forgot how to play football, and they got a really good coach. I have been also not on the Georgia bandwagon either. So play the tape. Play the tape.
I'm on the Georgia bandwagon, and here's what I'll say about that.
Because you're
is-
paying them money, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
You have to be.
Anyways,
You're actually paying for the wheels on that bandwagon.
so all I'll say is
One of them.
usually if you look at a national championship team, they have 1 or 2 games that they look back on and be like, oh, we got away with that. This was one of Georgia's games. They got away with it. It's going to be more fuel to the Kirby Smart fire. He's not going to allow that to happen again. They're going to go into they're going to play Alabama.
They have a bye week this week, so does Alabama. Both teams are playing each other in 2 weeks.
They're going to beat the brakes off Alabama.
Who is?
Georgia is.
No.
You want to make a money
Beat
line
the-
wager?
Hold on, beat the brakes off. Like, how bad are you
Not yet,
saying
next
bad?
Two scores.
I think at least it's more than 10 points.
Wait,
Georgia puts up more
10,
than
10 points or more.
Where are they
I'm not
playing?
taking
And
that till next
Tuscaloosa.
week. Nope.
10 points or more.
In Tuscaloosa.
That's why they
bet you
played.
beer. I'll bet you
That's
beer.
why
I'll
they
bet
played
you
so poorly against Kentucky, because they were like, South Carolina just beat the brakes off of them. Their quarterback play is atrocious, which by the way it still is.
Yeah. 12 points.
Get over this and let's get to what matters.
That so you're using the what
Overlook
was it?
team.
Washington last week. You said that about it 2 weeks ago.
I said about Oregon.
Oregon. That's you're using the Oregon.
They were holding back. They were holding back.
So Georgia was holding
They're
back.
not- they're not
against
looking as
No,
Kentucky.
I don't think it's over holding back. Look, having done this, there's just games you put on your calendar, you circle them, and that's what you focus on, and everything else between then and there becomes the blur. And at the end of the day, I'm not saying they didn't try to win the game. I don't think they held back, but I think they were. The word I like to use, they were disinterested in that game.
And Kentucky was 1,000% interested, because if
They
they,
just
win
got
that game,
embarrassed.
yeah, you're at home in front of your team, your fans that you just got embarrassed by. You got the biggest team in the country coming into your stadium. They're putting everything they got. And oh, by the way, Kentucky's got some of Georgia. He got Kirby Smart figured out a little bit, because we saw the stats on the Facebook page where Kentucky Georgia games have been close the last couple of years.
Pass has no bearing on the present.
It
or the
doesn't,
future,
but
man.
I mean, coaching is coaching, and I got to tell you, Kentucky's coach ain't that bad.
No, he's a
no,
great
of
coach.
course that's true.
So
We talked about this
Go
last
back
week.
the last 50 games against Kentucky, and guess who won 48 of them?
Georgia.
No, but what was
to
an
include
interesting
every game
stat?
since 2009.
So what was an interesting stat of our listener, Sloan Black, was every time they play in Lexington, it's like low scoring, 16-9, 13-12, 17-14.
Never it's over.
It's never the blowout you expect it to be. So why is that? That could be a complete another show of
Tough
being
in
debate.
Kroger Stadium.
But it followed suit. It's kind of like when Georgia used to come to Columbia. The game was never decided by more than 5 points for almost like 15 years. Sometimes that's just a place you go. It's hard to play, and you just get by. Jump out and win in advance.
Let's move on to a game that was a blowout this last week, and that was number 17 Notre Dame versus Purdue.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people thought Purdue might stand a little bit of a chance against Notre Dame after their loss the previous week. But to win 66-7, did Marcus Freeman add a little bit of steroids to the guys that week, or what happened? What's going on with Notre Dame that they're going to lose one week and come back? Oh, okay, Cheeks.
I think
See
a
you
lot
raising
had to
your
do. Yeah, I think a lot had to do with the quarterback. He was embarrassed the previous week. He said, "I'm itching to get back out there." He wanted to go prove himself. He's a young guy who really needs to prove himself, and he went out there and did prove himself. He got 6 touchdowns? Yeah,
Just ridiculous.
Yeah,
So my
362 yards.
So my question is this: if you're going to prove, so there comes a point where you prove yourself against a Group of 5 school, like Clemson did against my boys, but that's a whole nother conversation. So you're going to drop an egg there and then want to prove it against a Power 4 school? Again, I think he was embarrassed. That's why he did it.
Oh,
but you
yeah.
know what? Did you just not realize by losing to Northern Illinois what that does to your season?
Hey, New Illinois is ranked. Let's not talk
Come
bad
on.
about
Come,
Illinois.
hey,
They're right now.
look, man.
Yeah, now.
As Aaron Rodgers would say, come on, man.
Notre Dame knows one thing right now, and that's this: we need to
Win out.
We need to put up a lot of points
Yes.
so that we
Have to
end
put
up
up
in
a
that
lot.
top 12 at the end of the season
Right.
after winning out. And if they have one loss and there's a bunch of teams that have 2 losses but against ranked teams, then that's going to push them out of that top 12 as well.
Yeah, because they're not playing for 12 teams. They're playing 5 through. They're only playing for 7 spots.
They're playing for 7 spots, exactly. They don't have a chance otherwise. They don't have a conference to win. So they're like, you know what, 66 points a game, baby. Let's do it. You know,
I'm
but can they
shocked.
do that? Probably not.
I'm
They do-
shocked. I'm shocked. Not that they beat Purdue, but that they beat Purdue. I mean, I thought watching the last couple times, I think their offense is boring and they're not going to score more than 20
I
points.
mean, not for nothing, the Purdue program has gone downhill significantly in the last 5 years.
Who was that quarterback they had that was pretty good way back when?
Yeah, but they
Drew
were.
Brees.
Yeah, that's it. I think it was somebody since then, but that was a great answer. That was a great answer on the fly.
Pull it back a little bit.
Kyle Orton, that's pissed on you, man.
That's way better. The reason's been retired for how long?
Purdue was upsetting teams last year and the year before.
I don't know that they were upsetting.
Well, Jeff Brom left. When Jeff Brom left, went to like Louisville,
Yeah.
it's been downhill.
Yeah.
Well, that's a
So
good segue.
there's only one thing that we do on this show consistently, and that is guess answers wrong, but we also guess answers right. And we're going to give Landon the Legend the first word on the picks this week, okay? Because every week I seem like I forget and I'm throwing it towards the end of the show. This week, Landon, you get the first shot.
And listen close because he's got great personality in these picks.
Yeah, it's pretty funny actually. So let's go ahead and listen to this.
Nebraska. Clemson, USC, Utah, Tennessee.
Georgia Tech or Louisville?
I don't think any of those. Skip on to the next one. Auburn.
Georgia Tech or Louisville?
Go to the next one.
Georgia Tech or Louisville?
Go to the next one.
No, you got to pick. Georgia Tech or Louisville?
Louisville.
All right, y'all. So that was your legendary picks. Now let's go with our picks, shall we, for the games of the week. We always choose 6 or 7 games-ish to determine who. We're trying to see who's going to win a beer at the end of the season, right? Whoever has the most points wins. We got the legendary picks. We have the Choppa picks. We have the Hang-Up picks, and we have everyone else's picks. So let's go ahead and jump into this, shall we? The first game of the week that we're going to talk about, one of my favorite teams, number 22 Nebraska, is going to be hosting number 24 Illinois. I'm liking Nebraska in this game. Illinois. Sorry, different people say, you say Illinois too, right?
I'm from West Virginia, so you can't factor in how I pronounce it.
I can appreciate my man recognizing and acknowledging that.
I'm from West Virginia. Okay, that's a good excuse, man. I'm from Central Florida. We don't have good education down there. So I could use that excuse as well, okay?
Just lost another 17 listeners.
But only in Florida.
Yeah. Central Florida, everyone knows Kisseme's a terrible place to live, man. All my Kissimmee listeners will verify that for me. All right, so, Cheeks, who do you got? To number 22 Nebraska or 24 Illinois?
I have Nebraska, although I'd like to say Illinois.
All right, well, let's go with Nebraska then.
Yeah.
Chief, who you got on that game?
I got Nebraska. I don't think the Illini can pull it off at Nebraska. And Nebraska 3-0 start, first time in how many years? I think it's a tough place to go play.
Roll on to 4-0, are they? Yeah. I like Dylan Raiola. I think he's great. He's doing a great job as a quarterback. He's given that balance that Nebraska needs with the good defense. They have a great defense. That offense is good enough to keep the defense fresh. And I'm going with Nebraska as well.
3 wins.
Rebel.
Look, I think so. We've gone through in the past for lack of a better term, blue bloods of college basketball. And I believe in that. And I believe there are teams that they want and need to be good, to promote the sport, to promote the brand, and to advance the sport of college basketball. When you come to college football, Nebraska is one of those brands. And I think they have tried in the past.
Who's they?
The media, the public.
Okay.
The man.
They've tried to force
From Illinois.
They've tried to force mediocre Nebraska teams down your throat and convince you they're good, and they were trash. This is not one of those teams.
No.
They have got some players on this team. Am I telling you they're going to make the playoffs? Am I going to tell you they're going to win a national championship? No. But for the first time in 20 years since Tom Osborne, I think Nebraska's starting to get it right again. Nebraska wins this game.
Wow. Okay, I thought somebody was going to be different on this, but who do you got, Mountaineer? Are you going to go with the Illini, or are you sticking with the Huskers?
I mean, I want to pick Illinois, but Friday night, I don't know, man. Friday night, Nebraska.
Sold out stadium?
Yeah.
For like the 100,000th time straight?
I'm going to take Nebraska, but if I was betting the game, I would bet Illinois to cover. It's 7.5. But I picked Nebraska to win.
Okay,
We pick money lines here, Bubba.
And who you got there?
Rooster?
Yep,
Rooster.
The mountain man spoke. The over-under is 42.5. So if I was going to take a line on this one, it'd be the under. Both defenses are real sharp. You got Nebraska, who, like him or hate him out there in Colorado, they've got a high-powered offense. They scored 10 points against Nebraska. They're locked down. Illinois only has allowed 9 points, a high score of 9 points in any game. This is going to be a defensive battle. It's going to be boring to watch. They're going to beat the crap out of each other. Nebraska's going to win.
Just that offense, the slightly better offense is going to make the difference.
If I had to put a score on this one, 20-14, Nebraska.
Nice. All right. Number 2 game of the week, NC State at number 21, Clemson. We are all down on Clemson, I think, around this table.
No.
But
What
do you mean?
I hate them. Like, I hope they never win another game.
NC State or Clemson?
Clemson. For a multitude of reasons. I hope they lose for the next 40 years. They're going to smoke NC State. This is not going to even be close. I mean, this game is going to be over by halftime. NC State, McCall, who used to be at Coastal, got hurt last week. He was supposed to be the one that was supposed to dig them out of the grave. He's played like dog crap for the 2.5 games he's played. They put the backup in. He actually brought them back and won the game against.
Well, we saw backup quarterbacks can do a good job, man.
No, they're dog dung. I'm just going to put it to you like that. Clemson beats them by 17 or more. in Death Valley. That game is not even close.
Wow, you have passion today, man.
I am. I'm just mad, generally speaking.
Whiskey fuel?
Sometimes the brown liquor does that to you.
Chief,
Let
NC
that be a lesson
State.
to you.
Speaking from the legend.
Chief, I feel like you have a lot of
yeah.
animosity against NC State being a North Carolina fan. Tell me more, man. NC
His,
State or Clemson?
his wife is an NC State grad. Keep that in mind.
The Chiefs get a big NC State.
Hey,
Come on, listen.
no, he's about to make decisions based off how he wants his life to go for the next 2 weeks.
No,
I will text her
I
what their decision is on
got
this.
Clemson for the win, but Clemson, I don't think the line's 20. I don't think it's 20. I think it's closer to 10.
Okay.
Clemson wins, but it's closer to 10.
Cheeks, what you got on this game?
I pick Clemson too. I think that they've got this one in the bag.
I got Clemson also. Just put me down for Clemson. They're not going to Clemson this
I will
week.
digress. So I spent a lot of time in the upstate. After what they did to my boys, they have drank the Kool-Aid. They are convinced they're going 11-1. They're going to win the ACC. They're going to play for a national championship. When you listen to sports talk radio up there, and I go, "Did you watch the Georgia game? When you play a good team, you're going to get smoked." And that's okay. You may make it to the 8, you may make it to the Final 4, but when you play a good team, you will get smoked.
Okay.
Right.
The good team they're going to play is Miami in the ACC championship,
And they're going to lose to that, and they're going to be a top 4 seed, and then they're going to get.
Miami. I don't think Clemson will be as a 2-loss team. I don't think they'll be in the.
No, my thing is this. Let's just say they win the ACC, hypothetically speaking. So now they're going to get the winner as a 4 seed because the ACC could never get better than that right now where they are. So they're going to get the winner of the Group of 5 school in like an Ole Miss. Okay, unless a Group of 5 school just pulls one out, the rabbit out of the hat. Clemson versus Ole Miss in Death Valley.
Well, we did the bracket breakdown before you got here. 8 versus 9 probably wouldn't be Ole Miss, but it's going to be a good team.
They lose. I don't care who it is.
Could be Tennessee.
So
Even better.
there's good inspiration in that locker room if you're telling those boys in Clemson, listen, we can have a rematch against Georgia and go whoop their ass, right? Not they're going to. I'm just saying that is the inspiration. Hey, we lost the first game of the season. Let's win all the rest of the games. Win the ACC championship. Go play Georgia in the playoffs somehow.
Look, you
That's
basically.
what I'd be saying if I was a coach.
Let me explain something about Clemson
Yeah.
fans. I've been working up there since 2006.
That
Clemson
only
fans,
happens in states where marijuana is legal.
they bought a national championship back in '81. They pretty much proved they bought that one. And then they had a quarterback that took them to the Jack Shack every chance he could, and they won 2 more with him. No, one with him and one with. So they legitimately have one good one with Trevor Lawrence, right?
Yeah, one with Watson, one with.
Yeah. And so
They don't talk about Watson.
Yeah, they don't talk about it once. They want to disclaim. They want to separate
plays for
themselves as far as they can. Yeah. So at the end of the day, they are on meth.
Don't know
okay?
how you got that.
They are on meth. I said between them and South Carolina fans. That's what I love. I think that's why I can appreciate South Carolina fans because they're realistic. Hey, give me a bowl game and anything above that is a plus. Clemson fans think they should win the national championship every year, and I'm like, you're not that good. You're not that important to the landscape of college football.
Did we get his pick? It's Clemson.
Clemson.
I think he was going NC State. All right, Mountaineer. Who you got? NC State or Clemson? That's who we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Still in this game? Clemson by 100.
Clemson by
Yes.
100. All right. And Rooster. Give it to me.
Oh, I think NC State was overrated at the beginning of this year. They continue to be overrated. I think NC State Clemson has always been a really close game.
It has.
But I think Clemson's going to win. Probably more like by 10, not by 20.
Number 11,
Or 100.
USC. This is the USC in California. At number 18, Michigan, coming off a bye week. Sherome Moore says Alex Orji will be starting that game. It doesn't even matter who starts that game because
This game is gross. That's why.
Yeah, Michigan does not have a good offense. They have a good enough offense. They have a decent defense, but not that great. Not the same game of last year. I think that USC wins this game. I'm going to go with USC on this. I just think they're playing better football overall. QB Miller Moss seems comfortable.
I tell you what.
Caleb's not even there, and you're moaning and groaning.
Yeah, what you
Yeah,
just
what
have
the hell?
you have problems with USC just because Caleb is
Yeah.
there.
No. I tell you what. Hypothetically, very hypothetically, you kick me in my nuts. If you hit my right one, I'll take Michigan. You hit me in my left, I'll take Southern Cal. You just hit me in my left. Southern
Right.
Cal wins the
Fine.
game.
Kick or hit.
I don't care. This game is trash. While they're both ranked, it's befuddling to me. They're trash.
So Michigan is going to win that game? Is that what you're saying?
Southern Cal wins the game in a most boring game you might watch all season.
I don't think it's a boring game. I think it's a relatively
Well,
well
those
matched
both are
up.
trash and it's going to be competitive.
I think when a
I
game,
think USC is better than you think they are.
I think so too, and I think that if you watch a game where
So
they
they come
win
down
by 6
south.
points,
No, they're not going to come down and beat Alabama, Ole Miss, or Georgia for sure. But
they already had a
how about LSU?
I think they played.
not gonna beat
They did beat LSU.
They did beat
beat
LSU.
And
Thank
LSU is
you.
not a bad team.
Thank you.
They're not good.
That's because they have the refs on their side.
Yeah, but South Carolina almost beat LSU. And
That's
should
true.
have.
South Carolina's better. I told y'all South
think
Carolina's
so.
better than y'all give them credit for.
I think they are too. Yeah. Okay. So Mountaineer, You're a Michigan fan, right?
No.
I know.
How dare you?
Number 18 Michigan
Fighting
or
words.
number 11 USC. Who you got winning this game and why?
Unlike my brother from another Mountaineer mother who is.
That's good because I don't give two shits about this game. You go ahead against me.
No, I'm not going against you. I don't think it's a bad. I mean, if you're about brands, and that's what this game is, it's USC Michigan. It's two of the winningest programs of all time. It's in Michigan. It's on CBS at 3:30. I mean, USC's going to win, but I don't think it's going to be a bad game. I think it depending on what you like in football, I think it's going to be a low scoring, like a 24-10 kind of thing. But USC's going to win. But I don't think it's gross. To me, I'm glad to see USC Michigan play each other.
Does a win against Michigan propel USC into
No.
top 6?
No.
It gets them out of the sewer. That's all it does.
They're number 11.
It moves them
It's
up
not
the
the
big.
sewer.
It moves them up the Big Ten ladder.
They beat
Yeah, they
LSU,
back
and then if they beat Michigan, that's 2 top 25 teams.
Well, but that's not.
They
But for USC, it's Big Ten, and Michigan. That's just one more tread in the ladder that they've had to step up. Now they just keep. I mean, so to them, it's big. Just start picking off Big Ten teams and get in position to get in the playoff. That's what they're doing.
Chief, USC or Michigan?
Michigan by 3.
But, you got Michigan. You're going outside the box over there, huh? Is there a reason why? You just think they're playing better football? You just don't have that much confidence in USC?
He's an orgy guy.
No, it's
You really like orgies.
they're playing in the big house.
Yeah, that's-
I don't
It's
know
a
what to do
late
with that.
afternoon at the end of September. USC had to travel a long way. Michigan can't stand the thought of. They're going to kick field goals. That's what they're going to do. They're going to take. If they even get in field goal range, they're going to take field goal.
Imagine 2 losses in the big house in one season against big name teams
Before the end of
Dreaming
September.
about it.
before the end of September.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
There's
fan
a
base,
lot on the line
That
here.
fan base was sorely disappointed. They will definitely have to figure out how to pick up radio signals to get plays this year, and or something. They're going to figure out something. Let's just say
And
that.
they're not going to be singing
Cheeks,
Mr. Brightside.
USC or Michigan?
I'm never going against Lincoln Riley ever again.
Oh, yeah, you're going to never make that decision.
I made that bad decision the first week. I am picking USC all the way.
All right, so
I'll pick USC as well.
you got a
Thank
reason
you.
why?
I think Michigan just doesn't have it this year. USC, the desert also feels like USC is going to win at -6. I've got the desert. They seem to make money out there. I don't know if you've been out there lately.
They don't build them casinos on losers.
24-16.
Yeah, they do.
No, winners, sorry. They don't build them on winners.
Yeah, they do.
Speaking of the desert, we got
I messed it up bad, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
We got number 12 Utah at number 14 Oklahoma State. The battle for the best team in the Big 12. If there's one thing you have not noticed, or that you've noticed in this show, or you may not have noticed, we haven't talked much about the Big 12 as anything going on for a national championship or even the playoffs, even though they're going to have somebody in the playoffs, maybe possibly 2 teams in the playoffs.
They're going to get
Who
to.
knows?
They're going to get to.
So we got the 2 teams that are most likely to be there right now. Number 12 Utah at number 14 Oklahoma State. Check this out. Isaac Wilson, the brother of Zach Wilson, will be starting for Utah. And Zach Wilson was really good at, was he at BYU? Yeah, so Zach Wilson was really good at BYU, went to the Jets, had one good season. The next 2 seasons were pretty crappy, but
Does his brother like Cougars?
I hope so. They actually, when I saw the picture of the starting quarterback for this week, and I just saw the picture, I was like, holy crap, is that Zach Wilson? And then I looked at the name, because they look exactly the freaking same, man.
I can go down the rabbit hole with this, and I won't.
We don't have to.
Anyway, so,
Okie State, end of conversation.
really?
Yeah, agree.
Wow. Can someone explain themselves on Oklahoma
I did
State?
too.
Because I thought everyone was going to go around the table and say Utah, just because the
They're playing
defense.
at Oklahoma State. Utah cannot get consistent quarterback play because their best quarterback can't stay healthy. I think Oklahoma State will contend for the Big 12 this year just because they are better. Normally, everybody has them on the radar. People have kind of disregarded them a little bit this year, even though they're ranked pretty well. I think that's kind of a legacy thing. They're better than anticipated.
Not so fast. It was only
Uh-oh.
2 weeks ago that an unranked Arkansas walked into Oklahoma State and had a 21-7 lead and ended up losing in 2 overtimes. Now, Arkansas might be a little underrated this
That's
year.
right. That's where I'm going. Arkansas is better than anticipated as well.
Utah is not underrated. We know where Utah is. They play good football. Now, I do agree with you on the Utah quarterback play, which is probably going to be the difference maker. This is probably going to be one of the more exciting games of the weekend.
Yeah, it'll be competitive. It'll be fun to watch.
I got Oklahoma State because it's a home.
Really? Okay.
By the field goal, as
Chief,
the desert says.
You went with Oklahoma State also.
Yep.
Cheeks, who you got on this
I
game?
went with Oklahoma State also.
Wow. Am I the only person doing Utah, or is it going to be you as well?
Do you know if Cam Rising played in this game,
That'd be different.
The combined age of the starting quarterback of Oklahoma State and Cam Rising would be 57 years old?
I heard they're both
They're both like 28.
They're both 7th-year seniors. or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that.
So Cam Rising's out. Oklahoma State's going to win. Ollie Gordon should have a pretty good day. Yeah, Oklahoma State wins it.
Look, I could use this as my what the fuck, but I won't. Anything's possible these days. East Carolina's punter's 31. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Wow.
He's a freshman.
So Oklahoma State.
I got Utah in this game. Mark my
That's
words.
almost as old
They
as
win.
Kelsey.
Yes.
God.
Utah wins this game. They still have the defense that they need to stop Oklahoma State. I think that Oklahoma State against Arkansas, I think Utah will have a better
Sound
defense than
effects.
Arkansas did. And I think that from a defensive perspective, or an offense perspective, I don't know anything about Isaac Wilson, but I think that around him they probably have good enough players to play. I don't think Cam Rising is all that they say he is. I really don't.
I don't know.
He hasn't played in 5 years, guys. It's been a long time. Every season he comes in for one game.
He
and gets
missed
injured.
all of last year.
And the year before.
No. He played the year before. He got hurt
Got
in
hurt
the Rose
in
Bowl.
the game.
Yeah,
Hurt in the Rose Bowl.
And played well up to that point.
Played extremely well. Yeah.
Now, he's
played-
got the talent.
Yeah,
he just
played-
doesn't have the health. And if you don't have the health, the talent doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's a difference maker kind of quarterback. I mean, he makes it. That's why they're not going to win. If he was playing this game, I might be thinking different. But
I'd agree.
Number 15, Oklahoma, is hosting number 6, Tennessee. Whew, that's going to be the biggest game of the week, in my opinion.
Game day.
Yeah, for sure. Game day is going to be there.
We didn't
Number
talk about
6,
game day with
Tennessee
USC.
is just destroying opponents, whereas Oklahoma, not so much. They're not really destroying opponents at all. I think Tennessee does take this. You can mark me on that one. I'm going with the legend because he did pick Tennessee as well. And never go against the legend. That's all I got to say. And Cheeks.
I also went with Tennessee. I've got great hope for the Great White Orange.
The real orange or something someone said?
Much better than that one up in just west of Greenville.
Yep.
Okay.
Chief.
I'm torn. I really am. If this game was at Neyland, there'd be no question. But it's at Oklahoma. It's a night game at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's 3-0. I'm going to say Oklahoma for the upset.
Ooh, all right. Oklahoma for the upset. First big-time game for them in the SEC, and they take down a beast. You got them, huh? Rooster, who are you thinking on this one, man? I know you're looking in the desert. You're like, man, these guys really know what they're talking about, but...
They've been wrong before, which is why I lost some money last week.
We all have some.
NFL killed me. Anyways, thanks a lot, Ravens. But anyways, the MO for Oklahoma since Brett Venables has been there is inconsistency. And I keep on saying it, the team is always going to be strong on defense. You look at what they've allowed this year: 3 points, 12 points, 19 points. Who have they played?
Nada.
Temple, Houston, Tulane. Now, it's already been established. Tennessee hasn't played anybody either. But, I mean, Houston scored 12 points. Houston's not a good team this year. Oklahoma only scored 16 points against Houston. It's a rough one. I think Tennessee's got the talent around them to win the game. I think this is going to be a tight one. I got Tennessee by 7.
That's it?
Yeah,
that's the spread.
That's the spread.
I just think that they're wrong, man. I do. Tennessee is just so dynamic on offense.
Yeah, they keep on building casinos because they're wrong. Thanks, Ray.
I just don't see. I mean, first off, the over/under is 57.5.
I know,
That
it's
seems
crazy.
awful high.
So they think Oklahoma is going to score, what would that be then? 23 points or something?
No, 57. I mean, if Tennessee
that's
wins,
25.
that's basically 35 to 23, about 35-22. I think that's too high.
I do too. And see, I agree with him on the Oklahoma. I really want to take Oklahoma in this game because of Brent Venables. He is a difference maker. And Tennessee hasn't. I know Oklahoma hasn't played nobody. Tennessee hadn't played shit. So, but Oklahoma can't score, and Tennessee just needs to score 21 points to win this game. So I got to go with Tennessee on this thing.
Ooh, Tennessee. Are you going to go with the legend, or are you going to go against the legend there, Rebel?
DJ Alphabet is a fraud. Nico Alphabet is the real deal.
Don't disagree.
This guy is a stud. You take their last 2 starting quarterbacks between Milton and what's the guy that got hurt? He's leaving me. Dadgummit, I should know this because I'm on the podcast. You take them 2, you put him, big arm but consistent. This dude is legit. Okay, he's a Heisman candidate right now. Tennessee is going to compete to win the SEC. I know they haven't played a lot. And I think what happens in this game is the first half is close because this is going to be the first legit defense that Tennessee has had to face. Tennessee routs them 20-plus points. The Vols are for real. They're in a better place than they were 2 years ago. They're fun. Like, they're fun to watch, and you can tell. They play. You talk about playing football. They play loose. They make a mistake. They move on. They don't care. They come out the next time. They don't care.
If you got a team that's gonna pass, Brett Venables has the pin your ear back defense And I'll give you the example. You look at the LSU national championship year. Clemson blitzed, and they blitzed, and they blitzed, and they blitzed, and then they blitzed again. And the only reason LSU won that game was because they had an NFL caliber quarterback and 2 NFL caliber wide receivers that bailed them out. All Burrow had to do was throw the ball down the field, and those guys were catching it. Tennessee has a lot of talent. That quarterback is a sophomore quarterback. He's never seen the speed that's going to be brought to the table. He's not going to be as good this week. He's going to learn lessons.
I love that Rooster makes my final point on this game. Right now, Tennessee is 5th in the country in rushing. They're going to do exactly what he said, and they're going to run up their ass. And then in the second half, they're going to have to adjust to finish the run, and Nico Alphabet is going to go stupid. They win by 20-plus points.
Oh.
Gibbity, gibbity, wibbity.
Gibbity, gibbity, gibbity.
Georgia Tech, who was ranked last week and not this week.
According to legend, who gives a damn?
I'm with him.
Move on, Mom.
Move on.
We got to pick it. You said we got to pick it. We got to pick it.
He chose Louisville, and I am going with Georgia Tech.
Where's the game at?
It's at Louisville. Or no, it's Georgia Tech so it's at Georgia Tech.
No, it's at Louisville.
Is it? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, Louisville.
I just wrote it down.
Pick it and go. Cause
Louisville. All right, who you got? Louisville?
The legend even figured this one out.
Louisville.
Louisville. All right.
Louisa.
All right, who you got, Chief?
Louisville.
Wow.
Cheeks.
I picked Georgia Tech.
It's not a bad pick. Louisville hasn't played anybody. Austin P, the punching bag of the Midwest, and then Jack State also. Like they've played basically FBS schools or FCS schools. Like we don't know what Louisville's going to do. Why the hell are they ranked? Who put Louisville 19th?
Because of last year.
Because they're 3-0, so they had to put someone at 3-0.
They're 2-0.
Or they're 2-0. They had to put someone in the top 25. I was thinking it should be.
I'm going to take Georgia Tech.
You're changing the Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech is
Georgia
battle
Tech.
proven. It's not a bad pick. I only picked Louisville because they're at home.
Georgia
That's
Tech.
it.
Georgia Tech.
And Georgia Tech likes to throw up on
They're
themselves.
lost. They're lost with Syracuse. And
The game was closer than it should have been, by the way.
So Georgia Tech is going to win that game. All right, we all agree.
Well,
No.
half of us do.
We're a split pot right now.
Half of us
We
do.
are. Okay, so I had the choice. I was looking at some SEC matchups this week, and I was like, can I do the Florida-Mississippi State game?
No.
And
No.
everyone will scream at me and say no.
No.
So I found another one for y'all. They're 2 unranked teams, and we're going to stick with it. Arkansas at Auburn.
Yeah.
Arkansas, we all said it earlier, they're better than we expect them to be. Auburn, on the other hand, lost to Cal.
Hogs.
Hogs. All right, so you got the Hogs on that. All right, who you got there, Mountaineer?
Oh my God, that's gotta be
Arkansas.
good.
Arkansas. All right, and they're going to go to Auburn and win that game.
Cal went to Auburn and won.
win that game.
All right, who you got there?
Petrino riding the Hogs all the way to him. I got Arkansas.
Arkansas. All right, Chief.
Arkansas.
Arkansas, man. Chopper's
Chopper's having
He's having a heart attack.
His
right
eyes twitching because he knows somebody's talking about him.
now. I know, right? Chicks, who you got, man?
I
Is
think-
anyone going to go with Auburn yet?
I picked Auburn until I got there and switched it to Arkansas. I'm so sorry, Chopper. I started going with my heart, and then I went with my heart.
I'm not sorry, Chopper. Auburn sucks.
They suck.
Can I ask a question though? Why is Auburn so bad? I mean, I thought Hugh Freeze was going to turn things around there.
that's
They
what
almost
I
beat
thought.
Alabama last year. What
It's
happened?
only a second
That was the
season
only
there.
game that they were competitive in.
Yeah, but I guess I'm just curious what's happening. They got money. They got money.
So my thoughts on that is I think that world, a lot of bigger schools are still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Some just jumped in the pool blindly, and that's why they're still competitive right now. Auburn's going to figure it out because there is a lot of money that goes through that
There
school.
sure is. Opelika
And
has
Hugh
money.
Freeze is a good coach. I mean,
Yeah.
he made some mistakes that got him blackballed, but not because of his ability to coach.
Right, yeah.
You want to go down his moral compass, that's a whole other conversation. Give him 5 years. Auburn will be back to the glory that was Auburn
Will they
football.
give him 5 years in the
Yeah,
Plains?
yes.
I mean,
I don't
again,
know.
No, you said that about
Billy Napier.
They're going to run him out of town. They're going to run him out of town.
And
They're going to run him out of
You
town.
missed that part.
If Hugh Freeze can't beat Kellen DeBoer at Alabama, he ain't going to last 5 years. That's all that matters to them.
Look, they probably gave Hugh Freeze back his burner phones. He's going to be just fine.
I just...
But-
That's the
and
difference.
he can pay players.
But look, jokes aside, the bottom line is Auburn fans are as
Ravenous.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wasn't gonna use the term crazy, megalomaniac. They love you go to Auburn and people start tailgating in their campers on Tuesday in Opelika. Okay,
Look it.
so they're gonna expect some freaking wins, and if they get beat twice at home by unranked teams, we're gonna start talking
Look.
about the hot seat over there.
Everybody's figuring out how to get money to players, right? That Auburn's been doing for years. Nobody knows how to get the hookers to them better than Auburn. So at the end of the day, it won't matter.
Oh, dear God.
What the fuck, y'all?
What the?
Time out.
All right.
All right, let's give you an update on what's going on with our results.
Who's winning?
Currently, In first place, not by much, but in first place is Rooster.
Oh man, look at this guy. He actually goes with what the
Who
desert
did
says.
he
That's
pick
why.
between Pitt and West Virginia? Just out of curiosity.
Pitt.
Eat bullshit.
You chose Pitt. You did not.
After
You
the
chose
fact.
He
Pitt.
is still
After
in the
fact.
lead. I did not
Behind-
include it. They would have called it after the game.
I would have picked Pitt
Okay.
at home. They're winning.
You and I were the only ones.
He's still in the lead, though. Right. Rebel is in second place.
For the
with
beer.
15.
All right,
Third place is Chief with 14.
man.
And I am thankful for Hanger and Chopper because I'm beating them.
Well, you know, the only reason why you're beating me is because I go with my heart. And
Yes,
not with, I
and
go with
that's
my
where
heart.
it's
I'm
going.
done. I'm done going with my
But-
heart. I'm not choosing Florida anymore to win any more games.
That's a
like
good
everyone
idea.
in this list.
In the race is Kelly.
Okay, the person that's
Our
not
number
on our
one
show.
fan, yeah.
Our number one fan.
Our
yes,
number one
exactly.
fan.
How far down the list am I on there?
Yeah, I know, right?
No,
Did
you're
you miss a week or
That's
something?
four.
No.
That's four bad picks because of 2 Florida and 2 West Virginia picks.
You're one above
Well,
me
you
at
know.
13.
Don't go. Listen, don't go with Florida this year. Okay?
Or West Virginia. We'll
Or
stay
West
away from
Virginia.
those two.
Well,
All right.
and on that note, I'm never picking West Virginia ever again.
Wow.
What the fuck?
I don't
Give
believe
me a what the fuck, quick, Rebel.
I got
Chief.
it. I got it.
What the fuck, Chief?
After a little over 3,600 days on the market, Michael Jordan has finally sold his mansion for $18.5 million.
What the fuck? That's a good deal.
Chicagoland.
10 years?
10 years.
Oh my
All right,
God.
that's a long time.
There's a
man.
lot of personality in that place.
I bet.
Is that what we're calling it?
Rooster, what the fuck, bro?
You know,
Come on.
there's so many from this past week.
Yeah.
We've already talked about the referees. What the fuck? I mean, we don't talk NFL all that much. Kansas City being on the what the fuck train with getting saved, but couple ticky tack plays there to save their season. So I'm just gonna go with referees. We've already talked about it, but it was my what the fuck. So
What the
come on,
fuck?
referees?
What the fuck,
What the
refs?
fuck?
Cheeks. What the fuck?
Very simple. 2 words. The Eagles. Moving on.
What the fuck?
Just if we go back on that one, I don't think that's a what the fuck. Atlanta, if you watched that game last night, their defense was everywhere. They were everywhere. Honestly, Atlanta should have won that game last night and did win that game.
They did
by one.
win.
They did win.
They won by 1.
1 point.
Still a win.
Went to bed by halftime. But I mean, they outplayed the Eagles in intensity. That game was fun to watch.
Are
If
you
you're
not getting my what the fuck?
If you're an Atlanta fan, that game was fun to watch. There's some talent on there. Go
And if
ahead.
you're not, it's a what the fuck.
What the fuck, Eagles? What the fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck.
All right, Mountain Man, Mountaineer, Mountain Mama, Country Roads.
Actually, mine was the referees too.
That's okay. You can do the same as someone else.
We beat this
You're
horse
new
to
to
death.
this.
Well, we beat this horse to death. I just
You
think
can go ahead and go with Georgia if you want.
Sometimes you gotta dig deep into some sports history. You might even gotta dig deep into go into gymnastics. I've seen people do that before. We did swimming,
I mean-
all kinds of places.
No,
Bowling?
I'm good.
Bowling?
I'm piggybacking on the referee. I'm referee.
Cricket?
They got to get better.
All right, my what the fuck is this? The first person's hand you should shake after you win or lose a game is
Coaches.
the freaking water boy who handed you the water and got you through the game, right? You don't walk up and say, I thought he was a water boy, because the water boy is just the same as you. So a human being trying to put food on the fucking table.
Who is this?
And Shador Sanders said about the guy when he walked up to him and tried to shake his hand, and he did the whole, oh, I saw you on Instagram talking shit, blah, blah, blah. Afterwards, he was talking smack about the guy, saying, oh, I just saw he was the water boy or something. Why would I shake his hand? Well, that's a fucking water boy. You shake his hand anyway.
He also didn't shake the
Excuse my
opposing
language.
quarterback's hand.
No, he thought he was the
No,
water boy.
he
is what he said.
did not think he was water boy. He was dissing water boys when he said, they said, well, why didn't you shake his hand? He says, well, I thought he was the water boy. Why would I do that?
Which is
why
equally as bad.
that you should shake the water boy's
You know what,
hand?
Hanger? I just don't know why you don't like those people. I don't get it.
Because he's a piece of crap for doing that, man.
They're so classy.
3 weeks in a row, I'm pissed off at him.
Who's
So,
Colorado playing this week?
I hope they
Get annihilated.
Baylor.
hope they get an
I just became a Bears fan.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
I was going to pull out my best rock impression and say it doesn't matter who they're playing.
it's just ridiculous that you look down on somebody who
The problem is normally with teams like this, let's look like New England Patriots. It's because people get tired of them winning. That just kind of happens over time.
they ain't winning.
They ain't winning.
Wait, we're not going to get into any of this conversation, but if you looked at how Dion handled his career,
It's no different.
There's no question.
Right.
But
And people are
Dion
shocked.
but Dion had the results. He put the cart before the horse with
I mean,
the
so
son.
both three.
For the most part, yes.
So
Thank God we didn't have social media with Dion back then.
I might go back and cut out all my cursing at this guy.
No, you shouldn't.
No, I shouldn't?
No,
Okay, well.
it's what it is.
All right, but what's your what the fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck?
So my what the fuck was very similar to Hanger's, and I had to kind of step back a couple hours ago, and kind of
drink some whiskey.
$1,000.
in a good way.
Good whiskey.
You had to
No, in a good way.
take some blood pressure medicine like me?
In all seriousness, so in 2019, there was a podcast, and we got asked, hey, can we have a podcast somewhere? And there was a facility. They gave us an opportunity to do that. It's called MJ's Bar and Grill. And even though we don't do it there every week now, Deb and Anthony, you're in our thoughts and prayers. That's just, I'm going to leave it at that. Because you gave us a place to do what we're doing. And sometimes life sucks. And it ain't fair. And that's my what the fuck tonight. It really is.
Amen.
Amen.
Cancer sucks.
It sucks, and it sucks more every day.
Yeah.
And that's my what the fuck.